Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for the today morning's Bhagavatam discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We are continuing with our discussion on the 5th canto, chapter 1st, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrataha. So we had seen yesterday Brahmaji completing his instructions to Maharaj Priyavrataha, and he says that, like in the part which we saw yesterday, we saw like in the verse number 15 to 19, he essentially says that it's actually one and the same thing whether you matter. He also says that these are temporary designations. These are not actually the identities of the soul. And he says, like, in the flash of time it will be over anyways. So now Priyavrataha Maharaj has heard all this, and now let's see what comes ahead. So Brahmaji of course had spoken the last instruction as, if you simply remember the Supreme Lord, which means like you chant his holy names, or if you are Krishna conscious, then it doesn't matter. So Prabhupada says this is the most important thing actually, like other than the philosophical understanding of karma and soul and all this. Most important thing is that just like a lotus can stay fresh and pure even amongst a muddy pool of dirty water. Similarly, a devotee who is always remembering and meditating on the Supreme Lord can remain uncontaminated. If he is Krishna conscious. Grahe thako, vane thako, sada hari bole thako. Prabhupada explained that whether you are in this ashram or that ashram, if you are sada hari bole thako, then you are all right. So Prabhupada even says in that purport, like 19th purport, a sincere devotee who engages in the service of Lord, this is the last paragraph. A sincere devotee who engages in the service of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by preaching his cult all over the world will never be affected by Vishaya Taranga, material influences. Can you imagine? Prabhupada is writing an absolute statement. This is not conditional statement, right? He says absolute statement. A devotee who engages in preaching the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which means he is always absorbed in that, will never be affected by Vishaya Taranga. So this is like a great benediction actually given by the Acharya. Another thing Prabhupada says in the purport is, material enjoyment achieved by dint of one's fruitive activities differs from material enjoyment given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is in the one paragraph before. See, here again, it's very, very beautiful principle. Material enjoyment achieved by dint of one's fruitive activities differs from material enjoyment given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee sometimes appears to be in a very opulent position, but he accepts that position to follow the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. and therefore he is never going to be affected by those material influences. So Prabhupada is repeatedly telling that if a devotee accepts material enjoyment offered by the Lord, and what to say, in the service of the Lord, he will not get affected by that. However, the reality seems to be a little trickier than that. Not so clean, not so neat, that a devotee does get affected. But when does a devotee get affected? Like, in last 7 days, I have heard at least five times from Prabhuji, His Grace Vijay Prabhu, that when in the early days of our movement, when devotees got opulences of having many surrendered followers, or having a lot of money, or having a big post of control, like either as a spiritual leader or managerial leader, or whatever, community leader. So then he was telling me about the statistics also, that a good number of devotees had tough time handling those things, and then they actually slipped in their spiritual life. So when this happens, is like Prabhupada is writing here, it will not happen, and the reality is that it does happen. So when does it happen? It happens for those who focus only on that aspect, that I have to serve by accepting all these opulences. But inside our heart, personally in our own life, we have to remain a beggar. Let us say tomorrow we have a temple which is like, let us say one gets a temple in Manhattan, like 20-story, 30-story temple, and lots and lots of money. Still, a devotee should remain a beggar of mercy. So his morning program and his willingness to treat others with respect, his simplicity, like he'll wear simple cloth dhoti kurta, and he will eat. It's not like he's gonna eat all the extremely opulent items like sandesh and all that every day, like all 3 times. So if he remains humble in his own sadhana bhakti, personal sadhana bhakti, opulences can be used to serve the Lord, to serve the devotees, to spread the mission. But on a personal note, one has to remain, like Prabhupada writes, you're insignificant, like an insignificant beggar. So Prabhupada was same when he was in the Radha Damodar rooms in 1959 to 1965 in Vrindavan, alone writing those purports. And Prabhupada was same on Jaladuta, and Prabhupada was same even as the world Acharya later on in 1970-72, having disciples all over the world. His longing was to go back to Vrindavan and simply chant the holy names. So his identity as the servant of his spiritual master never changed. He was serving the disciples as their guru only as a part of the service to his spiritual master. So what remains my primary identity, and and that I do not leave the ground of sadhana bhakti, like morning program and our basic sadhana, chanting of 16 rounds, and we should not become that big ever that we cannot render service to Vaishnavas. So the role of a guru or a temple president or a person handling a lot of finances for the Lord, lot of opulences, that is one of the services, that is temporary designation. But at the core, or the primary identity remains that of a sadhaka. That is not going to change. So if a devotee is situated like that, that is what Prabhupada means by sincere devotee. Sincere. Since years he has been humble. So that devotee will not have problem with opulences. But if a devotee so therefore a devotee has to be very, very cautious that he should accept opulences and respect, even in the service of the Lord, only as much as he can digest. Just like prasadam is wonderful, or nuts are wonderful, like very nutritious food, or Kautukarna Prabhu keeps telling me about some food. So those nutritious food items referred by Kautukarna Prabhu are very nice. only as long as we take in the capacity, we can digest. And that capacity will differ from person to person, you know. So even if, like Prabhuji takes now, like all those Krishna cooked items, I mean Krishna created items directly, but only that much which we can digest. So one has to be honest with oneself. What is my level of spiritual advancement or detachment, or what is my spiritual capacity? In Hindi there is a saying कि जितनी चादर उतनी पैर फैलाओ. मतलब it's like as much as your blanket, you know, that much only you should stretch your body. Otherwise, if you're stretching your body like here and there, and some limbs come out and it's a lot of cold season, then you'll get cold. So similarly, one should stretch one's service attitude only to the degree one honestly has that capacity. So it's nice to become a GVC or a guru or a temple president or a spiritual leader or whatever. But then do I have that adhikar? You know, do I have that capacity? One should see. And one should not, in the name of false humility, remain, undermine also, you know, one's ability to serve. Okay, Prabhu, I can do this. So why not to do this? Please do. Because it's about the service of the Lord. Like if Hanuman says, no, I cannot do, you know, I am like no one, then who will serve the mission of the Lord? So he had the capacity, so he should use also. But give the credit to the Lord. And he remained humble. It's not like when he reached Lanka and met Sita Maya, he's like, your Ram could not come, okay, I have come. So it's not like he was boasting around or giving credit to himself. Even when he goes back to Ram, he was not demanding anything, or, you know, it's not like he said to Sugriva, you rascal, you are becoming the temple president of the army, you are becoming the Shiksha Guru of the army. You know, did you know those verses, how to go to Lanka? I went. You know. So he was not arrogant. He gave the credit of his abilities. Even if somebody is able to sing very sweetly, or somebody has the opulence of being an eloquent speaker, knowing like, you know, so many verses at his command, that does not mean, or somebody may be a very rich devotee, you know, giving a lot of money to the spiritual master's mission. There was this devotee of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur who used to fund like anything, and then he was talking in middle of the class, like literally disturbing, like very arrogant. So Saraswati Thakur said, what do you think, like by offering your money to Krishna's service, have you purchased me? Am I your servant now? Am I your dog? Of course, he did not use the word dog, but that's what he meant, like, you know, do you think like, so he said, your money was also Krishna's, and by giving money to Krishna, you are gaining. It's not like you, Prabhupada did this, you know, somebody gave Prabhupada a lot of donation, and then he saw like books, so then he asked for one book and Prabhupada gave, and then Prabhupada said $10, like whatever, $5. So he was surprised, he said, Swamiji, I just gave you like thousands of dollars donation. Prabhupada said, yeah, that is very good, that was donation, this is separate. Of course, Prabhupada is just gentleman. That man smiled and he gave. But the idea is that when we serve the Lord, even with a post or with some ability, with some talent, that talent will come and go. That's not who we are. So who we consider we are has a lot to do with what's going to be our experience in devotional service, what's going to be our destination in devotional service. And if we identify with post, position or opulences or abilities or talents, that's going to end at one point of time. That's not who we are. And such a person becomes frustrated. If my happiness comes from the ability to play mridanga, that ability will go one day. Then who am I then? Sometimes, you know, some devotees in India, they introduce me like to someone else as, you know, Prabhuji is our temple president. You know, come, I'll introduce you to temple president Prabhu, President Prabhu. I said, Prabhu, tomorrow I'll not be temple president, someone else will be. So like, will I cease to exist, or will I not be a worthy person? What? So these are all like temporary external designations. This is not who we are. So if a devotee is sincere, that at his heart he remains, when he sits with other devotees to honor prasad, he should not think I am guru or I am temple president or this or that. I am just another Vaishnava. We are all together serving the team, serving Krishna. Just like in a sports team, sometimes one may be captain and one may be playing role of a leading batsman or whatever the sports. But he is also one of the players. So while playing a role, one should not forget that I am also one of the devotees. So that's why Prabhupada said, when you go out to share Krishna consciousness, go out like a lion on the chase. A lion on the chase, it's powerful, chivalrous. And amongst the devotees, Prabhupada said, live like a lamb. A lamb inside. Lamb at home, yeah. Lamb at home and a lion at the chase, correct. So, if I forget that like when I come home and I remain a lion, then I'll become alone very soon because I'll eat up other devotees. Or other devotees will run away. So that is the idea, like, if a devotee remains sincere. I was sharing, I think yesterday, in the same context, that in the second canto, Brahmaji asked the same thing. How will I remain protected, my dear Lord? So Lord said, if you always remember me as the very source of all the elements and your position and your empowerment, then you will remain humble. But if you come into illusion, like I am the Karta Dharta and I am the Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayak, then what can be done? Then you will fall down. So one should always remain humble by remembering the Lord, by remembering the spiritual master, by remembering the temporality of the material world. And then take shelter. Therefore it is said Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, by everyday hearing in the association of devotees. So one may be senior, but once it is so inspiring, like Vijay Prabhu is so humble and friendly, and his example is such superb, flawless example actually, like his sadhana, his morning program, and with the same enthusiasm he hears. The other day we were in Salesforce office, like for the program, and Prabhuji got a picture with Vaishrika Maharaja, and he was telling, see, I got mercy. Oh God. I mean, from our point of view, both of them are. But that simplicity as a Vaishnava, so while getting the tag of senior, one doesn't stop being a dasa. While getting the tag of His Grace, one doesn't behave as disgrace. So that is the challenge actually, to continue being a humble servitor. And therefore one should never give up three things in life. What is that? Three things should never be given up. Even Shastras say this. One is, one should never give up one's master. One should never give up one's beads. One should never give up one's sadhana bhakti. This is one thing. This is first thing. Second thing, it says one should never give up Vaishnava etiquettes. Even though we may become very great, like we can see Lord Chaitanya, Raghunath Das Goswami, many great personalities, their Vaishnava etiquette, they never gave them up in any condition of life. What happens is, the Vaishnava etiquettes help us to remain conversant of the fact that we are a servant, we are eternally a spirit soul. We are, by getting a great position, we do not become great. I mean, we remain the same. Like a currency note is still paper. Although at that point of time in that country it may be officially designated as a huge, big currency note. I think there were previously like $500 bills.
They used to have a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. So now they stopped. So the paper remained paper only, na? One point of time it was okay, $500. But the paper is paper. So one should never forget. So Vaishnava etiquettes help us to remain, So even we should also not give our introduction to someone else as I am this or that. Okay, I am a devotee and I am serving currently as this, or I am serving in this role. But who do we think we are has a lot to do What is my primary identity? That is why Sambandh Gyan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if Sambandh Gyan is clear, then further things. So Vaishnava etiquettes help us a lot to remain humble. Third thing which is there, that basic services we should not give up. Basic services means like, we do deity worship, or sometimes we fold the mats. Even someone is very great devotee, but simple services, distributing Charnamrit or distributing prasadam to devotees. So one should not, okay, I am doing very big services. Yeah, but still once in a while helps us to be rooted. Helps us to be rooted actually. So, like that. So this is what, yeah, it's probably.
Three things, one's master means one spiritual.
Yeah. Like basically one's someone whom we follow.
Okay.
So one's master, one's beads,
Chanting.
one's chanting, which means one's chanting, one's sadhana.
And third is Vaishnava.
And first is our vows, our beads, our master. We should not give up.
First.
That's first category. That's first thing. And second thing is Vaishnava etiquettes. One should never give up Vaishnava etiquette. Like morning we do, no? Let us offer our most respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Simple Vaishnava etiquettes, like paying obeisance to the deities, to the Acharya. See, Roma Russian Sutta did not follow Vaishnava etiquette. So, Vaishnava etiquettes help us, Prabhu. You will see in the long run, simple Vaishnava etiquettes save us practically. They remind us the moment you bow down, oh, I'm also. They're designed like that, just by folding hands, and they're designed like that they actually help us with our consciousness also. And third thing was basic services as a simple Vaishnava, like sometimes just serving prasad, sometimes just picking up books, like the other day we were picking up those prasadam boxes and all, right? Yeah. Or sometimes just winding up. Not like I have become so big now I cannot do. So, like I saw you yesterday asking Vijay, Prabhu, I'll throw the trash. He said, no, I'm going out and I'm going down anyways. So I think this helps keep us level-headed, Even deity worship, so deity worship, so you have to bow down, you have to dress as per the service demands. That's why the Uttari is worn. Uttari has no stitches. So when you go in front of a great personality and you are like nobody. So traditionally in India, in front of the kings and all, the person would not wear any royal cloth or any stitched cloth, because stitching was only affordable to very rich people like kings and all. So when a simple person would go in front of a king, he would wear just like this cloth. It doesn't require stitching, na? See, this dhoti comes in like 300 rupees, okay, in India. And this kurta, which has like 1/3 of the cloth, this comes in 400 rupees. Why? Because there is a cost of stitching, customized. Dhoti is like just continuous cloth, right? I mean, you can't go simpler than that. That is most natural directly. So the simplest people in the society, they would wear only like dhoti and the same upper cloth, like. So basically the cheapest one. Clean, simple, cheapest. Because he cannot afford. He is a simple guy. And the king's every part of his like turban and even his dhoti would be like embroidered and all that, right? So the idea of a pujari wearing only that is like, who am I in front of you, my dear Lord? So even if somebody is a guru or a big temple president or whoever, when he goes in front of the Lord, so he removes, like one is not supposed to wear anything on the, and one is not supposed to wear socks and all, like even in the winter season, right? And one is supposed to be wearing unstitched cloths. Basically simplicity, like I am a kinkara. Ramanujacharya called that a devotee should always be in the mode of kinkara. Kinkara means kinkaroti. My dear master, what can I do for you? Like a servant always asks, na? Hukum, mere aaka. My dear master, what can I do for you? Please order. So kinkara, kinkaroti, yeah, that it comes from there, which means a humble servant, a menial servant. So by rendering deity worship, by assisting the spiritual master or other Vaishnavas, by doing maha cleaning sometimes, just going and in the festival, just sitting in the kirtan. Not that every time I go, I should lead the kirtan because I am the senior devotee. I should give the class. I have seen places like that, centers like that, where that's not a good idea, because some people they will not go, they will not sit in the class. But if you ask them to give class, then only they will. There are, or in the kirtan, they have to be playing mridanga or they have to be singing. Otherwise, they forget that concept of just because they are talented or just because they are senior. That is not like that. Helps?
Yes.
Yeah. Very meaningful, na?
Yes.
See, these are very simple things, but they really help us remain grounded, actually, rooted.
When I take the caution to write, please accept my humble obeisance.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Srila Prabhupada, it immediately reminds
It immediately reminds us, yes.
that I am
Your servant.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, even if a Diksha Guru follows Vaishnava etiquettes with Matajis, he will not have any problem. Or even with kids, like some etiquettes have to be followed. So, even if some counselee is there, or people may have whatever roles and positions, but Vaishnava etiquette, simple service attitude, and like sadhana bhakti, one's own adherence to sadhana bhakti, not like considering oneself above it, above the core practices. So these things will help keep the person humble. Fourth thing which can also help is accountability. So I may have opulences on behalf of the Lord, but if I am accountable to someone, so one should always practice accountability. That I must, my life must be transparent, and my life must be accountable. So am I answerable to someone for the time spent? Like in the companies, Prabhu works in a company, right? There is accountability, right? Like what did you do? Or in some companies you even log hours, like exactly, So there should be accountability in one's life, and there should be transparency. Like devotees should know what we are doing, where we are. It's not like the devotee just, he was not. We don't know yesterday where he was or what he was doing. No, some devotees should know. At least a couple of devotees. And accountability means, okay, what decisions? Like now, I'm coming here. So how do I spend my time? So my accountability is there to Radhesham Prabhu, Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, to yourself also, right? There should be a devotee's accountability to something. Like he reports, he asks, and he follows their direction. Even as a temple president, like there. So I don't actually have any role per se. I'm just there like as a. But then there is a team managing, and so even in the voices. So like someone will say, oh, you only preach to those people. So what? They are also devotees of Krishna. So you hand over to them. So then that helps her, like in a team effort, a teamwork, and then maintaining transparency. So even when you deal with a lot of money, when you have transparency, like nowadays all these Google Sheets and so many things are there. So amongst devotees, to the degree there is transparency, it inspires trust. And it also helps stability in a community. Like for example, you see the stability. So there are four those pillars or stands, whatever.
Legs.
So legs, yeah. So to the degree there are more like this distributed leadership, collective leadership, and there is good connection amongst them. Like if you see that one thing which is connecting them both. If there are even more, then there will be even further stability, further strength in that. And in buildings, like they say in architecture, even if one pillar goes down sometimes, still the building should not have any problem. It should be that strong. You can see in ISKCON, like Prabhupada made GBC, collective leadership. So many ups and downs have come, or pillars have got shaken up, but because that collective thing. Similarly, any leader who's dealing with opulences or power or control over other people, he should never be like alone or lone leader or some place where he's the only person inspiring faith in other people. He's the only person controlling or making decisions. At least not most of the times. Sometimes it may not be feasible to have it, but at least and then there should be accountability also. Like he should not become what they call it, autonomous, autocrat, or so like that. So that is risky actually. For someone who's a liberated soul like Prabhupada, yeah, it is actually great. But otherwise, person himself should be cautious from his own side. He shouldn't do that. So that is a fourth factor also which can help. Very practical. All these things are very practical, Prabhu. Very, very practical. What do you say?
Yes.
Prabhuji, you wish to comment? I am speaking like a child in front of you. So, like Prabhuji was telling, I think, if I'm not wrong, that since the time the sannyas ministry has started and there has been some standards and accountability, so a lot of stability has come. So it's natural actually, because that factor of accountability is there. Okay, so we'll see now this verses from 20th onwards. This is the last part of verses we'll see in this chapter. So, you'd like to read this? These are prose we cannot recite.
Yes. This is the Shishu Prabhu.
Yeah. 20th.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued. After thus being fully instructed by Lord Brahma, who is the spiritual master of the three worlds, Priyavrataha, his own position being inferior, Maharaja accepted the order and carried it out with great respect. Sri Priyavrataha was the grandson of Lord Brahma. Therefore, according to social etiquette, his position was inferior. It is the duty of the inferior to carry out the order of the superior with great respect. Priyavrataha therefore immediately said, "Yes, sir, I shall carry out your order." Priyavrataha is described as a Mahabhagavat, a great devotee. The duty of a great devotee is to carry out the order of the spiritual master, or the spiritual master of the spiritual master, in the parampara system. As described in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam parampara praptam, one has to receive the instructions of the Supreme Lord through the succession of spiritual masters. A devotee of the Lord always considers himself a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord.
So see here, mind may rebel, but you follow the etiquette, you follow the principle. That I am an inferior, my duty, my dharma is to follow the superior. So, of course, it doesn't mean one doesn't have room for individuality or expressing one's thoughts or innovative abilities or talents. It's not like that. But after having all those discussions and conversations, after having expressed all this, if there is that final verdict from the superior, then one should follow. Prabhupada says somewhere that a family can stay on if the wife finally agrees to follow the husband, even when there is disagreement. So similarly, there has to be a decorum of, like in a team also, that one follows the leader or the guru. So here Prabhupada says that because Priyavrata understood that he was the inferior, here does not mean okay, today I am in a lower position, so I have to follow. It's not like that. He is understanding his dharma, that okay, I am less qualified than Brahmaji. So if Brahmaji is so much feeling about, so much telling about it, there must be merit to it. Let me, yeah. just like Pandavas had serious differences amongst each other, but finally they would happily follow Yudhishthir. So sometimes they would grunt because because they were Kshatriyas, so they had that, "Arey, let us settle it out with strength," But Yudhishthir Maharaj would press upon the same thing, like so. So they would agree. I heard one thing. His Holiness Loknath Maharaj, he said, he was asking one disciple, "Why is ocean great?" Like the disciple was saying while walking, morning walk or something along the ocean beach, "Just see, Maharaj, ocean is so great." Maharaj said, "Why is it considered very great?" "Because it is so vast, it is like huge and deep." And Maharaj said, "Okay." Then Maharaj said, "You know why it is great? That despite being such a huge entity, such a voluminous, practically the most voluminous thing on the planet is ocean. Despite being that, it remains within its limits. Like, it doesn't, it can actually drown all of us. But in general, it just remains." So Maharaj said, the amount of, or the volume of knowledge or strength or money or control or position does not make a person great. But despite having all that, if he remains humble in front of the Lord and he remains within his dharma, that makes him great. Beautiful, na? So that Prabhupada's famous statement, greatness of a person has to be estimated by his ability to not become agitated even in the provoking situations of life. Steadfastness. He remains humble because he has faith in the Lord. So similarly, if one accepts the changes of life according to one's dharma, understanding that ultimately Lord knows everything. So he will, if there is a risk, he will protect. So that's what he is saying to him. You would like to read next one?
Text 21. Lord Brahma was then worshipped by Manu, who respectfully satisfied him as well as he could. Priyavrataha and Narada also looked upon Brahma with no tinges of resentment. Having engaged Priyavrataha in accepting his father's request, Lord Brahma returned to his abode, Satyalok, which is indescribable by the endeavour of mundane mind or words.
Can you read the first paragraph of the purport?
Manu was certainly very satisfied that Lord Brahma had persuaded his son Priyavrat to take the responsibility for ruling the world. Priyavrat and Narad were also very satisfied. Although Brahma had forced Priyavrat to accept the management of worldly affairs, thus breaking his vow to remain brahmachari and completely engage in devotional service, Narada and Priyavrat did not look upon Brahma with resentment. Narada was not at all sorry that he had been frustrated in making Priyavrat a disciple. Both Priyavrat and Narada were exalted personalities who knew how to respect Lord Brahma. Therefore, instead of looking upon Brahma with resentment, they very feelingly offered him their respect. Lord Brahma then returned to his celestial abode known as Satyalok, which is described here as being impeccable and being unapproachable by words.
I'll ask the number. What number?
It's the next one.
What number?
It's 21.
5 and 21. See, this is very subtle, na? Very subtle. That don't carry grudges in the heart while accepting the order of the superior. My goodness. Don't have resentment, right? And here it says that more important than our own austerities or vows is the order of the Supreme Lord. I'll share one incident, okay, what happened in my life. When I was a student, it was in the year 2006. So I remember one time this Krishnanand Prabhu came to our voice, and he like gave a series of talks on chanting of the holy names like for 7 days, and it was so inspiring. And then in the end he was telling you should give Guru Dakshina. So I said okay, and I personally said yeah Prabhuji. So he told me that you should not eat one grain of prasad also before completing your 16 rounds. I said okay, that's very nice. And I was also like in youthful that thing, no? Yeah, very good Prabhuji, this is very good. We should have such standards. Then I also said yes Prabhuji. So I will try to commit to this, and Hari Bol, thank you. Now I started following. So I did not consult any superior because it's just like somebody as family doctor, But then he just Googles something and gets, and then he doesn't consult this. So I also started. I didn't consult my service authority. I didn't consult my Shiksha Guru, my mentor or anyone. That's mind is there. And it's so nice, like who can question this? So I started following. Now the like after some days I saw like next time when my superior devotee like Radhesham Prabhu and one more brahmachari, so they would come. So I saw that they are a little upset, like, or somehow I was just feeling that, but I was also going on, no, I was not able to figure out why they are. Then one day this brahmachari spoke to me, Prabhu, why are you doing this? I said, yeah, it's very nice, one should complete 16 rounds first. So like we would have the morning program in our voice, and our college was there like at 8 o'clock. So usually our morning program would get over by 7:20. And so 7:25 to 7:40 we had prasad together, like breakfast. 15. So we had this thing like all would come together, and so like one senior devotee would read Krishna book and would also serve, like there was a schedule, and so we were like maybe 20 of us. So we would honor prasad together. It was a very important part of life, like especially breakfast and lunch. Lunch break was there 1 hour, but everyone would come and there's 20 minutes lunch and 15 minutes breakfast together. Together means together. So that was a festival. And so I was now not at, most of the days I was not there, because I would just go out like in the just outside area, and I would complete because generally my 2 rounds would remain. So what I would do is after everything got over, so 7:40 I would go out and chant, and I would finish my rounds, come inside. By the time Jai Jai Shri Radhe Sham Prasadam over, and then I would take alone. So then they were very upset with me. So they said, Prabhu, why this? I said, Prabhuji, it's very good, and it is sometimes otherwise rounds are there till night because whole day college, and so then they said, but and I immediately added, Krishnanand Prabhu told me, like, now what can you say? He's such a senior devotee. They said, okay, then go to Krishnanand Prabhu only for everything. So actually what happened is, later on they explained to me that, see, you are also a devotee here, and you are also in the post of leadership also. Today you are having your own plan. Tomorrow someone else will have his own plan. And it's very important, it's vital that we come together. I said, Prabhuji, but this is sense gratification, and that is my completing. This is not sense gratification. This is devotional service. See, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, devotees are coming together. They said, we are very happy about you completing rounds before. So you get up early. You get up at like 3:30 instead of 3:45 or 4 o'clock. So I think we used to have 4:15 morning program. So, but because there is college at 8 o'clock, so there has to be class, Mangal Arati, Shikshashtakam, and 16 rounds. So that morning program was tight. So he said, like, if you are sincere about you really want to do this, he said it's okay even if you do after 10 o'clock, like complete your rounds. But you can, if you are too particular, you get up early. But why are you not participating here? Because all the devotees should be together. Then I remember, I said, Prabhuji, sometimes I am not immediately hungry. Because I had my own. He said, okay, you don't eat, you come, you serve, or you sit, you read Krishna book. I remember one more time, like what happened. So we used to come together for lunch also. So sometimes I would say no, but I'm not feeling hungry, and I have, like, after the lunch hours, I have, you know, some time left. So maybe I'll take after 1 hour. He said, okay, you take less, but you try to take with devotees, because that is a part of devotional service, that we come together, the bonds develop, we hear Krishna book together. So actually I realized, then that pleasing the devotees and following the order of the Lord is more vital than our own priorities. So once in a while it's okay. It's not like it's like, a line drawn by the stone. But the idea is that my own separate, similarly, like we may go to yatra, or there may be a Ekadashi time. And in yatra, okay, I will chant 64 rounds at the foothills of Govardhan. Yeah, but all the devotees today are taking part in kirtan, or today there is like the parikrama. No, but the strength is in sankirtan, together devotional service. So I should give up my own plans, even though apparently they may be more spiritual. But to surrender to the Lord's plan, and to be with the devotees or to follow the Acharya is more vital in devotional service than to have our own individual. It is said, collective unity is more important than individual purity. That doesn't mean collectively we become impure, but what it means is like, I'll chant 64 rounds, that's my own priority. Yeah, but together all the devotees are, having katha or having some. So be with the devotees. That's more important. So, like that. So here also he is telling that more important than your own vow to remain brahmachari, which may be very pure, but you be part of the team. Together everyone achieves more. Team. TEAM, right? Together everyone achieves more. Even there is that example of prachetas, that because they were individually, none of them had become fully pure yet by their own devotional service. But Lord Shiva said, because you are always together as a team, as united as one team, therefore Lord is very pleased with you. So He will bless all of you with pure devotional service. So Prabhupada also said, if you want to please me, cooperate. Yeah. Because, like we say, Prabhu, like here the society is quite organized, but in India, like if I want to get my child admitted into a very good school, I have to go and become humble, no? Please accept him, please give him one seat in your. So, or if I, like traditionally they used to get married, their daughters, like, so it was a humbling thing, like, you all must have also seen, like, so the father of the daughter, like in a Vedic marriage, he would be like very humble, right? To receive the other party and all that. So, or if you want to do business, like in India, if you go to a railway station, as soon as you get out, so many auto walas, like cab drivers come, sir, please, So, sorry, what I was trying to say. Cooperate. So if I really love my child, then I will be willing to be humble for the sake of serving him. If I really love my daughter, then even as a big man, I'll be willing to be humble in front of the in-laws. So, and if I really want to love Lord, then I'll be willing to be humble. Okay, I will cooperate with devotees, no problem. His one, as Radhanath Maharaj says, when he was a little child, like Richard, he was a boy. So his mother and father were fighting one day. He came early from school and he saw from the door was little bit like. So he saw that they were fighting and they were about to have divorce, like within a few days. They were really like fighting like cats and dogs. Then he started, because there were 3 brothers. He was the middle one. And he was like, so, middle one or the younger one? Definitely not the eldest one. So he became very, like, he was a kid, na? So he started like, and then both of them suddenly realized that our son like they're not alone. They thought they are alone, that they're in school. So they suddenly realized, like, so they opened the door and they saw this guy's crying, and he heard, like they understood. Then they both sat with him, pacified. But then he was like, "Mom, Dad, you're separating," and he was like, "Why?" and all this. Then this mom and dad started looking at each other, that we can't tolerate each other, but what to do? We love him. So then they both had immediately.
Radha Swami said what happened was that she went to him
Okay.
and she said, "You and my father were going to get divorced."
Yeah.
And he started crying.
Yeah.
And then she told her husband, he started crying.
Yeah.
So then they decided, alright, we can't.
Yeah. So they decided to cooperate with each other. He says in one lecture that my father told my mother that, okay, you tell me how can I become a better person. And the mother also told, how can I, like, what can I change in myself. So he said that because they both loved me, they were willing to change themselves, even though it was very tough for them at that time to live with each other. And then he said, like, they had a successful marriage, lifelong. So just see this, Prabhu, like if I actually claim to love the Lord, or if you want to love the Lord, then am I willing to accept a change? Okay, fine, I'll, So this is what he is referring to here, that you may be having your own determination, your own vow to remain a brahmachari. But if you really love the Lord, or if you want to love the Lord, then you will change. Then there is one verse in 8th canto, I don't remember the verse, it is about Lord Shiva. It says in Samudra Manthan Leela, what is it which is difficult for a surrendered Vaishnava? Which means, if a Vaishnava is surrendered to the Lord, what is it which he cannot agree for, which he will not do? Like it is said that he was willing to drink poison, halal, for the sake of protecting the entire world, to please Lord Hari. This is specifically there, Hari Toshanam. For the sake of satisfying Lord Hari, he was wanting to serve the world by protecting them from poison, by himself drinking it. So in his glorification, a verse comes, what is it which the surrendered Vaishnavas of Lord Hari cannot do? Which means they love him so much. That similar verse in 6th canto, spoken by Lord Shiva about Chitraketu Maharaj. Narayana parasara na kudaschana bibhyati swarga apavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshana. These are devotees of Lord Narayana, surrendered devotees. You send them in any situation. It's not about heaven or hell. It's not about a place. Basically what it says is, you send them to a hellish situation of life, or you put them in a heavenly situation of life. They remain the same, ecstatic. Why? Because they're always remembering the Supreme Lord. Always. Apitulyartha darshina. Because they're always darshan, they're always seeing. Seeing means not physically, but they're always remembering Lord Hari. They're absorbed in Lord Hari. So they're not affected by the circumstances. Similarly, Brahmaji is telling, why should you not be willing to change? Even Radhanath Maharaj himself said that he was not willing to take sannyas, but then they said that, you are saying you will become proud and all, and he even said, okay, I am willing to get married, but I will not take sannyas. No, that was too much. They knew that he was such a determined person not to get married, but he was even willing to get married. Then they finally asked him, okay, can you not do it for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada? Then he said, oh, if it is for Prabhupada's service, I am willing to do anything. Then he accepted sannyas actually. So Maharaj said, they knew where to catch me. So actually this thing about bhakti, that is why in bhakti actually the false ego is totally melted by the love of the Lord. when a devotee realizes how much the Lord loves me, so his false ego is melted totally. That I am willing to be like flexible totally in the hands of the Lord. Yeah, so it's already 8:30. Prabhu, there are three verses more, but I think we'll stop here. And one way we just do them just like that, and what do you say? Tomorrow we'll do, hai na? So we'll stop better. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल,
हरि हरि बोल।
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय जय। हरि बोल।
Thank you, Prabhu.
नाथ कृष्ण प्रभु,
Hare Krishna.
देव प्रभु,
Chalo.
सात्वत प्रभु, अभिषेक प्रभु, थैंक यू। शुदा कुछ मैसेज है क्या?
Adinath Krishna Prabhu's reflection: never give up master deed sadhana, Vaishnava etiquettes, basic
Yeah.
services. Kinkara master, what can I do for you? Menial servant.
Yeah. Adinath Krishna Prabhu is always living like this. He's like this, na? Prabhu, how can I serve you?
Yes, Prabhu.
He looks powerful, na?
Yeah,
With body, but with his behavior, he's like a simple child.